Chilanga versus.
Happy New Year from Chilanga Converses. We've missed you, you've missed us, and we are back. Your hosts, Mr. Pars, or you can call me Sunday.
And Mulundu, the Kingpin. So we're back for another jam-packed session, Chilanga Converses. We're doing a recap of 2021, and we have a lot for you.
Yeah, we thought it would be a special way of starting this year by just reminding everybody of all the events that took place that basically cultivated us into the people we are this year.
It was a long and arduous year. Man, it had so many ups and downs, challenges, and it felt like things were coming at us from left, right, and center.
Yeah.
You know?
Shout out to the families who, lost people along the way. There's a lot of suffering, and shout out to the people who are still here.
Staying strong, keeping at it, keeping up the fight. Yeah, so it's another year. We should muster up the same energy.
Muster up the same energy and make good use of our time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I thought it would be a great way to start off this podcast by, talking about one of the biggest events in Zambia, because we are Zambian.
Mm-hmm.
HH becoming the seventh president of Zambia on his sixth attempt, beating out Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Yeah, he finally did it.
Double H7.
That's what they're calling him now, Double H7.
Like 007. Yeah, man, he did it. Honestly, I feel like the elections were marred with a lot of apathy. Right? Mm-hmm. To start with, people didn't go out to register to vote, and on the actual day of elections, people didn't show up to vote, because in total, he got HH got 2.8 million votes. Mm-hmm. Edgar Lungu got 1.8 million votes, and the rest was split up between the rest. Right? So if you do the math, you see that comes up to what? Under 5 or 6 million?
But I still feel like the turnout was still huge in terms of what we've experienced before.
It was huge, but I feel like we could have done much more. But among the youth turned out in droves.
Just so many people. Us who went to vote at 04, thinking we were early, we were very late. We found lines stretching for several bus stops. And we had to wait until nearly the evening.
Just to vote.
But it was worth it.
It really was. It was worth it. To see how happy people were to have a change. These days you hear people talking and they'll be saying one thing they're happy about is you don't have the so-called cadres anymore.
Yeah. And even of the remnants of cadres, we're still trying to fully get rid of them. They're still there, but people are now encouraged to actually report them to the police, report any illegal activity. I believe one of the ministers said that any UPND cadre saying that he's doing work on behalf of the government and trying to take monies should be reported to the police immediately.
Absolutely.
So there's no support for them anymore.
It's not like they can stroll into any other place and and make a robbery, pull off a heist like they did in the past. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Also the appointments that HH made.
He really cleaned up house.
He did. Yes. A few familiar faces in the cabinet, right? People were saying they want fresh blood, new minds, new ideas, but
You still need experience.
yeah,
And there was a bit of backlash about that, young people saying, why are you hiring the old people again, But at the same time, you're something like 27. Why would we appoint you like Minister of Justice or something? Because, okay, sure, you may have knowledge, but experience is priceless.
It is most definitely. And the mayor of Chipata is a very young fellow.
How old is the mayor of Chipata?
Funny enough, he's 27.
He's 27. Okay, so all the 27-year-olds, you might be able to become a mayor if you really show persistence.
Yes.
But not ministers of justice.
No, for that you need the requisite qualifications are just in the stratosphere.
There was the local support for councils. That got a bit of a boost, didn't it?
Ooh, a whole lot.
Tell them how much they got from what to what.
Man, before it was like 1.2 million. And now we're talking in excess of 26 million.
And I'm surprised by how that fact isn't even downplayed. It's like people don't talk about it at all.
Yes.
Even when they have like complaints about fuel and stuff going up, like nobody talks about how large a boost that was.
And if you think about it, it's really smart what he's doing, because his approach to restructuring the economy is from the grassroots. So from each individual pocket of the country, you are sending money there. This money, which can be used for agricultural projects, which can be used for skills development centers.
Yeah, just developing the community as a whole.
Just so much can be done.
And it's like, it's equal to all of them, right? Yes. So you should be able to see a little progress, at least a little progress from everybody. And that's just enough. I mean, for the first year, right? If everybody does put that money to good use, you could be seeing like 2 or 3 years from now, like the boost will be even bigger than 26 million.
Also, the government insists on prudence with the way that finances are handled. So there has to be accountability, there has to be transparency. Basically, this money needs to be accounted for. Each kwacha that is spent needs to be accounted for, and people need to know just how much is being spent.
Talking about financial prudence, there's also a hunt, isn't there? There are hunts for previous perpetrators, people who basically misused public money. You end up just like those people.
Yeah.
Because at the moment they came for, I don't know the name, you probably do. The guy who managed to buy a helicopter.
Oh yes, yes. Him. The name forgets me. If I had to hazard a guess, I think it's Milanji.
Yeah.
Honorable Milanji, something along those
lines.
We
apologize for, not exactly knowing his name. We just know they locked him up. And they're investigating where he got his monies from. Because you can't say a public servant can go out and buy a helicopter.
Well,
unless they were investing their money wisely, their salaries wisely, to be able to accumulate such returns.
Rumor has it he's a very enterprising businessman who has ties and connections to Saudi Arabia. and supplies goats.
I wonder how those conversations happened.
And supplies goats and things of that kind.
Goats.
Yes.
Goat herders can buy helicopters. But anyway, one of the first notable arrests was TV presenter Faith Musonda. They had seized 65 million. Is it dollars?
Kwacha.
Oh, 65 million kwacha from her residence. She wasn't around at the time. It's like, I don't know. I think it was a rumor that she was in America or something, but she wasn't, was she?
Well, don't know for certain, because she could have been in America and then under the cover of night came back into the country. You know, and say I never left, you know. But she struck a deal with the Anti-Corruption Commission. Yeah, saying that she would forfeit the money which was suspected to be proceeds of crime in order to get clemency, right? But then what happened, she had more legal woes, because little while later in the future, she got, let me say, questioned and not rearrested for ownership of properties which are also incidentally suspected to be proceeds of crime.
Which she did not declare in the first interview.
Yes.
Which I mean, if she was being as cooperative and she declared everything that she had, okay, if everything was innocent, you know, I mean, the reason why you might not declare it is because you don't want it taken away, and the only way it can be taken away is if you got it illegally.
Well, I think her lawyer worked magic, and you know what they say about magic? They say magic is an illusion, right? So use an illusion to make the legal trouble go away, but then the thing is, at some point, some people might see through the illusion.
Yeah.
Which they did.
Especially because of, I mean, if you're only trying to fool like a handful of people, the magic, you know, it can work. But if you literally have like whole teams of people who are nitpicking every detail like through your illusion, they're gonna see through it.
Yeah.
And these guys are working tirelessly just to make sure every discrepancy.
We're talking asset recovery task forces.
That's it sounds as grave as as it is. There's a whole task force looking for this stuff. Apart from dealing with all of that, HH has also visited the UN.
Yes, he did.
To strike some deals.
So he went to the United States and he shared a podium with Vice President Kamala Harris, who also has ties to Zambia. She stayed here in Zambia when she was a wee little girl. Yeah. And also, it was a groundbreaking moment because he was asked to speak on behalf of Africa, I would say, as a way to show just how much of a standard bearer Zambia is in terms of democracy in the continent. Yeah. So peaceful transition of power during the elections. No, it's never happened that we've had violence during transition of powers. So peaceful elections have been happening in Zambia, and it's been wonderful, you know. And also, the party that lost the elections, they felt a bit slighted because they were referred to somehow as, you know, the word that nobody likes to associate with the government.
know.
Yes, it rhymes with gumption. Corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
but that didn't keep them silent afterwards. You know, like since day one of his presidency, the members of the opposing party have constantly just given speeches and talking about do the work, stop like going to different countries, stop doing interviews, stop doing this, focus on the promises that you promised.
I remember being a listening ear in a conversation where it was being said that Obama in his first term of presidency sort of was buckling under his success, because he was supposed to be this guy, first black president. He was supposed to change it all, fix the system. You know, white man had done so much, you know, whatever it is, but then he needs to just like fix everything, you know, make America great, like Donald Trump's slogan.
But the systems that run countries
Yes.
are massive.
Yes.
Like, and massive machines move slowly. You know, so that brings me back to the way people are complaining here about where are the things he promised, like 1 month in, 2 months in. You know, these promises, if anything, are supposed to like encompass 5 years. You know, if he delivers everything like right now, then what's he gonna do for the rest of the 5 years? If it was that easy, even.
The thing is, he got an economy which, for all intents and purposes, had an IV plugged in.
It was on life support.
It was on life support.
Yeah.
You know? And so for him to turn all of that around and start to bring about economic growth, actual job opportunities, jobs created, you know, more this, more that, less prices for goods overall.
And
that takes time. And if we're talking economic policy, as a rule of thumb, you know, it takes about a year or so once you establish and implement a policy, and then for it to have real life impact. It takes about a year.
Exactly, and it hasn't even been that. But as I say, be careful what you wish for. Constantly nagging about the free education that was promised. What happened now? Fuel subsidies were removed, you know. So now fuel's gone up.
Yes.
So that people can have free education. But it's a good thing.
It is. If you think about it, the rich are the ones who deserve to be taxed, really, because they have the resources, you know. They can afford to pay the taxes.
They can.
Yeah. So if you can afford to buy a $50,000 vehicle, surely a 3/4 increase in fuel won't hurt your pocket that much. It might be just like a slight pinch, you know, or maybe just like an itch, but really it'll be inconsequential.
I remember Simon Wewa was he was trying to give advice about what you can do now that fuel prices have gone up. He was suggesting that you can talk to some of your work colleagues and carpool to work, so that it won't cost you as much. But there's many solutions, you know, to get you through this turbulent time with fuel. Because I'm sure commodities are not far behind, you know, such as, you know, your groceries. I'm sure power here is electricity. Yeah, power tariffs are about to go up as well. But we have been through tougher times, I believe. And this time we know that what we are suffering for is a better future. As opposed to before, when the economy, the dollar was like skyrocketing, the pound was skyrocketing. That wasn't actually for a better future. That was just like the country was doing whatever it could for the bare minimum.
Like watching things nosedive.
Yeah.
You know?
We were even being told to eat cassava. How could you explain cassava to the international world?
The best I can do is that it's a legume. It's like a potato.
Yeah, but with like no taste. Yeah, so instead of our staple food, which is nshima, we're advised to eat potatoes and pumpkins and groundnuts.
On the bright side, HH did increase the pay as you earn threshold. So if you get 4,000 kwacha or below, you don't pay any tax.
That is incredibly convenient.
Yes. You know, so much.
Wasn't there like a salary raise
For civil servants,
for civil servants?
in the range of 12%.
Still a raise. And it's just, it's a benchmark, isn't it? It's like, this is what we're doing to make things better while there is practically no money in the country.
Yeah.
Now imagine what we can do when we start to flourish
Exactly.
as a people.
It's like they're doing what they can with what they have at the moment.
Which is very little.
Which is little. Yeah, which is quite little, let's be honest.
Yeah, talking about Kamala Harris. Yeah, she became vice president. Joe Biden became president. And around that time, Trump supporters attacked the Capitol.
Yes.
It was an incredible riot, wasn't it? I think, wasn't it? It was like the first time that has ever happened. I don't know what the National Guard were up to, but resulted in like 5 people dying.
Yes. People died. One of the iconic moments captured from the riot is this guy in Capitol Hill, and he has his feet up on a desk. You know, and it's like Trump could be partly to blame for that. You know, he was Congress called him, right? What's it called when you have the Senate hearing type of thing? Yeah, like when Mark Zuckerberg was called before Senate.
Oh, a hearing?
A hearing. Yes. So there was a hearing into whether Trump could have incited the Capitol Hill riots. You know, because he said he uttered some words. You know, he was like, "We'll fight for America," stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't know if he used those words strategically, because in the court of law, can't he just like say that's not what I meant? There's so much leeway. Yeah, using vague terms. We will fight. I mean, that could mean anything. We could write a bunch of letters. That's what I meant.
Would it be correct to say that Trump supporters were quite violent? Because I remember seeing T-shirts worn by Americans, and how they would have the Punisher skull logo and Trump's like yellow hair at the top. You know.
Okay, but he did appeal to a lot of frustrated Americans, because his initial slogan was "Make America Great Again," which meant like it was like targeted to people who were frustrated of what America has become. We're not as great as we used to be. We didn't love this country. We don't love this country like the way we used to. We're losing our values, our culture. So years down the line, when he loses, they're like, now we have to go back to this democratic rule, you know, the people who let this country backslide in the first place. No, make it great again, attack. No. Okay, but it was very serious. It was.
It's like misguided, misplaced patriotism.
Yeah. Guess people just want change. And another noteworthy, you know, election that we can point to was the one in Uganda. I don't know how to say the man's name. Bobby Wine?
Bobby Wine.
Bobby Wine. Bobby, my bad. He is a he's a musician who ran for president in Uganda because they too were frustrated with the tyrannical rule of their president, and there was a lot of violence.
There was
leading up to that election, and so much passion, and it didn't turn out the way they wanted it to.
Well, Museveni, the Ugandan president,
yep,
he decided to shut down the internet on the day of elections.
Okay, like that sort of happened to us, didn't it?
Well,
there was restrictions for the internet.
Yes, but then somebody applied to court to review the order, to review the decision made by the president, and the court said that it was unreasonable, and so reversed the decision to restrict the internet here in Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Democracy. But in Uganda, I guess it got shut down.
Absolutely. Like over there, it's full-blown dictatorship. Like to this day, people are going missing and being tortured.
Yeah. Can't speak much to that. We don't have facts. We don't really know. But this is the things that we hear.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of violence. Bobby Wine lost, and they've continued just like that. So things can go either way depending on how united as a people you are, right?
Absolutely.
In America, there was also that event, or not really an event, but a moment where George Floyd was killed by a police officer.
Yes. The verdict came through last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, the police officer who knelt on George Floyd's neck for, what was that, like 8 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, he was found guilty and convicted of second-degree murder.
Which is quite an achievement for America, isn't it? Because nobody really convicts police officers who end up mistakenly killing people.
Mistakenly?
Oh, my bad. I'm saying mistakenly because it's never been proven. It's just alleged, you know. But this one, we can say that it was definitely proven, and the
evidence was damning.
Very damning. Especially the way it pretty much created an uproar, like globally. But it seems like every police shooting or murder needs a global uproar to, you know, push towards a verdict. Because there have been other incidents apart from George Floyd's where people's lives were taken. That was another big thing in 2021. Okay, let's move on to something a little lighthearted before we go back to the hard stuff.
On a lighter note.
On a lighter note. Sorry, ladies, but let's talk about football. Zambia first, Patsandaka. transferred to the Premier League, playing for Leicester Football Club for a transfer fee of £30 million. It's quite sizable.
Very impressive.
Also, Enoch Mwepu also went to Brighton and Hove, didn't he? He's been doing quite phenomenal, I think.
He has.
Really.
That goal against Liverpool was amazing.
I still feel like that was goal of the month. Taken with such confidence.
Yes. Yeah. He was up for the challenge playing against Liverpool. He's like, I'm going to show you guys. I got ball skills too.
Exactly.
Let's not forget Fashion Sakala as well.
Oh, he went to Rangers,
Scotland.
And he's been doing great.
Yes, managed by Steven Gerrard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who later then moved to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll bring fashion with him at some point.
It's only a matter of time.
Ronaldo returned to the Premier League.
And he scored on his return.
He scored twice, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Just to mark that it's the second time.
In the first half.
And has continued to keep Manchester United afloat in the Champions League. Like, this guy scores like nearly every game. And it's always like vital goals as well, like saving them from getting kicked out.
That's very true. It's been wonderful for United having Ronaldo back in the squad.
And for him to be, he's 37 now. 37 and holding up a team as large as Manchester United. That is a feat very few can achieve.
If they can get a winning mentality going in the squad, then they could do great things as a club, you know.
Exactly. They just need the right manager. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was removed as head coach for Manchester United. They've been trying out a few people. There's been Michael Carrick. What was he, undefeated in his entire coaching?
Well, he goes down as a bona fide club legend.
And now they have Ralph Rangnick, who isn't exactly doing very well.
Well, he had a good start. I would say, it's just we're hoping. Oh, there it is. I betrayed. That I'm a Manchester United.
Everybody knows now. Everybody knows.
Just hoping to start 2022 off with a win. You know? But, hey, man, it's football. Sometimes things don't go the way you expect. And maybe that's exactly what they need. Because they think we are united. We have Ronaldo. We have Varane. We have Cavani. Surely, without a doubt, shadow of a doubt, we can beat any team that comes up against us. You know, but they still have to work for it and make sure they have a synergy going on.
What was the name of that famous commentator, Peter Drury? He said Manchester United is like a woman with the menstrual cycle. They win a game every month. You know, the month where they don't win, just know they're pregnant.
That's funny. That's funny.
Lionel Messi also finally left Barcelona due to they couldn't afford to pay him. They couldn't afford to pay his wages. So he even offered to cut his salary in half. They still couldn't afford him. So he had to leave, and he signed for Paris Saint-Germain, PSG in short, for anybody doesn't know where that is.
Playing with Mbappe and Neymar.
Yes, such a superstar squad. But unfortunately, it isn't gelling as great as everybody thought it would. Especially Messi has been struggling. to really break into the team. But he's been doing quite well in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a few superstar performances there, but in the actual French league, he is statistically, they said that he was the 127th best in the entire league. Yeah, so he's like somewhere with the goalkeepers down there. No, I'm sorry. I'm just playing. So, but there's still time as we move. Where are we in the Champions League so far? We're last 16?
Yeah.
Or are we in quarterfinals? Wait, quarterfinals is...
No. Round of 16.
Oh, round of 16. Oh yeah, quarterfinals is 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the future, you can't predict it. He may very well just take them all the way to the end and win the Champions League and win another Ballon d'Or. He has like 30 of them so far. Just gives them to his kids at this point. Uses them as coasters, that kind of thing. Just balance up a table or two. Just collects them, you know. Okay, Champions League wise, like we were just talking about, Chelsea beat Pep Guardiola's Manchester City in the Champions League final for their second title. You know, Thomas Tuchel taking over from Frank Lampard really did wonders, reviving the passion in a lot of the squad, making, what's his name, Rudiger, a very highly attractive defender. You know, people actually want to spend a lot of money for Rudiger.
Okay.
Yes. He's been linked with Real Madrid, all these people, you know, and it's so funny how he changed in like 6 months, because before that he was bad. It was really bad. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It was a good game. I was happy Chelsea clinched the title.
So was I.
Yes. I just felt you nicked it from under City's feet.
You mean Chelsea nicked it?
Yes. Chelsea, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, that's not that there's any bias or anything. Yeah, Chelsea. And they went on to make some big signings in their pursuit of the Premier League title. They signed Romelu Lukaku from Inter Milan for I think 97 million pounds, somewhere there. Because that happened over the summer and we have 6 months of hindsight. It didn't exactly turn out brilliant. He's kind of been underperforming for them. So throwing a lot of money at a problem isn't always gonna be the solution. Okay, apart from that, the Euro 2020 occurred. England, I don't know when's the last time they reached a final of the Euros, but they reached the final.
They did.
I was very impressed with that.
They should have won that game. Everything was pointing to a victory. And then at some point, you know, there was just, I don't know, just chaos happened. Before you know it, Italy equalizes and now the game is different and then goes on to penalties. And
I think in my short lifespan, I've heard that more times than I care to remember, that England should have won. England should have won. You know, I remember seeing a picture, I don't know if it was for the 2006 World Cup, the England squad they looked monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the players in there, it was crazy. They had
Rooney,
Ferdinand,
Young,
Lampard, Beckham.
Gerrard.
They had Gerrard as well.
Yeah, Beckham too.
Yeah, did I say Scholes?
No.
They had Scholes too. I thought it was Scottish, but anyway, they had Scholes too. They had Joe Cole, the guy who used to play for Chelsea. I said David James, the goalkeeper. Who
was the strike man up front?
Up front, there was Rooney. Yeah, they had Rooney. They had enough people, and these were all like heavyweights, you know. Only for them to, botch it, just botched. Yeah, so there have been many times where England has come short. How far? The World Cup, when was that, the last World Cup? 2020? 2018. They went to the semi-finals where they played Croatia. A game where they should have just won. But Luka Modric's team just
I remember
steamrolled them.
They were like, it's coming home. It's coming home.
I guess England fans feel the same way as Zambian fans. No, at least with us, it's like the hope isn't too high. We get disappointed very often by our national team, but for them, like, they actually reach like close to winning, and then it's like, no, not this year. 2 or 4 more years later. Okay, but Italy taking it home. Had huge celebrations in Italy,
And now there's a chance they might not go to the World Cup.
Why?
See, it's playoffs, so they're up against Portugal.
Oh, so it's between Portugal and Italy. It's kind of crazy. Portugal, apart from Mr. 37-year-old Ronaldo, who shows up for big games somehow, and hasn't he equaled someone's record for being he surpassed the record for being the highest international goal scorer ever. Yeah, he's still making records like that. They have Bernardo Silva, who's been in peak physical condition for Man City. What about Cancelo? Is he Portuguese?
I'm not sure. I know for a fact Fernandes is in that squad.
Oh, Bruno Fernandes. Oh, that's mad. Who? There was this one guy. No, name has escaped me. Moving on. So it's a crazy team. So anything is liable to happen. Do you know when that match is happening?
No.
But we will keep you abreast of the situation. Football news, there was the Super League.
Oh, yes.
Teams came together to try and create a Super League. It's sort of like a Champions League, but like only includes like the big teams, which kind of really just steps on the little guy.
It does. Also, if you think about the revenue these clubs would generate on their own, it would be unfair to smaller clubs for you to expect them to have, as a going concern, resources to effectively manage the club, because everybody is going to want to watch the big games. You talk of PSG versus Barcelona, you talk of Real Madrid versus Man City, big blockbuster games.
The way the FA Cup would have suffered tremendously.
You know?
Because I find it hard to have interest in that on its own. What more if there was a Super League?
And if anything, if that had gone through, these teams would have broken away from like the Premier League and some of these smaller competitions like the FA Cup and the Football League Cup all together. You know, just stick with the Super League, and that's where the big bucks are. So,
but because the world in unique and vital moments can be quite just. People came out and spoke against it, and there's a lot of public backlash, and that prompted teams to pulling out, saying they were no longer interested. And that is how the whole Super League thing died.
You know, I remember reading something about football becoming more of a business than more of a business than a sport. And so recently there have been talks of having a biennial World Cup, right? So because World Cups generate so much money for the host country, for sponsors,
for the nations themselves.
Yes, for people covering the events. It's like it's
giving people
gold
jobs.
mine,
Yes,
you know, it's a treasure trove, right? So you have World Cups every 2 years. That means more money is coming in.
It means more money is coming in, but doesn't it make the competition less special?
It does. It does.
And won't people be more fatigued because there's the Euro every 2 years, there's the AFCON every 2 years.
Exactly. You know?
It's just more stress, and there's been a lot of complaints from managers. Okay, it's just the German managers in the Premier League saying that the winter schedule is just ridiculous because the players are so overworked with the schedule. Yeah. So football has been becoming more of a business than something for the fans to relish, because there was this complaint. I think something like Chelsea tickets, seasonal tickets, they went up by something like 200% to 300% in price.
Ooh.
And that's during this pandemic, you know. But like Bayern Munich have always had like the lowest priced tickets for fans, because they believe that it's for the fans. Like, if an ordinary person can't come to see the match, then, you know, what is it for? Are you just playing for rich people? But that hasn't stopped other clubs from astronomically raising prices. Away from football, Tom Brady won another Super Bowl.
Yes.
Just doesn't know when to stop.
So he leaves the New England Patriots and he joins the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in his first season with this team, he leads them all the way to the Super Bowl, and they win it in their home stadium. Something that's never been done for an American football team. And in doing so, he got his 5th Super Bowl MVP and 7th Super Bowl ring.
One of the players in his team actually grew up watching him, right?
Yes.
And then ended up playing with him and going all the way to the Super Bowl. That is phenomenal.
So people would say Tom Brady wins because of the phenomenal structure that the Patriots have, Bill Belichick, all of that. But he goes to this team and the manager, the coach, gives him like free creative control. It's like, you are going to decide the plays that you're going to make, you know. Every other player take point on Brady. Like, he's running the show, you know. So he lets him do his thing and they win. They win the Super Bowl. Like, you know, the thing is, you'd think it's just the team around him. But then he goes to a totally different team. He has to learn the skills, strengths, weaknesses of all these other players.
How to gel with them, everything.
All of that. You know, work this entirely new system.
With full creative control.
With full creative control.
Meaning, it's on you if you mess up.
And he goes all the way to win the Super Bowl.
At the same time, that could have gone incredibly wrong for the coach, eh? You know, giving him full creative control, and then, like, if they had lost, it's like, what are you doing? You're the coach. Just told him to run whatever he feels like running. Like,
he must have, you know, I use this expression. You hear it in hip hop songs. Real recognize real. You know?
Okay. That's where we're going with that, huh?
Yeah. So the coach must have seen, you're like Neo in the Matrix, the way you read the code, the game. So just have at it.
Talking about the Matrix. Yeah, there was another Matrix.
Matrix 4.
Something like, I don't know if it was a decade or two after the initial, or the last one, Matrix Revolutions, which must have came out, I think, around 2002, back when we had DVDs.
Yeah.
Those CDs. Yeah. There was another one. The Wachowski sisters now did another one. They brought back a good number of the original cast, apart from Hugo Weaving, who played Agent Smith, and Lawrence Fishburne, who played Morpheus. There have been a lot of mixed reviews. I personally, I don't think I can give a full review because I've only seen half of it. Wasn't exactly impressed, but you know, my mind could change once I finally finish it. Yeah. What did you think?
I think what they wanted to do was tie up loose ends with the story, because Warner Brothers said that they were going to go ahead and do a sequel, with or without the Wachowski sisters being on board with the project. I think in looking back at what had been done with the movie, they felt like another one could happen. You know, make another movie. So there is lots of, I would say it's subtle storytelling.
Okay.
That's what it is. You know, I'd like to think that what they intended was not the conventional Matrix experience, what the producers, makers of the movie expected the audience to experience, you know, but something, in a way, a reimagination of what the Matrix world could be like. Because at some points in the movie, you know, you go back, you see like where people in the real world are living, and you see the improvements in technology that have been made, how different it is from Zion back in the original Matrix trilogy.
So it was a whole new place, wasn't it?
Yes, whole new place, whole new technology. I mean, they're even growing strawberries.
Yeah, working with the machines as opposed to fully against them.
Yes. So it's like upgrading the story. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, a lot more could have been done, but I don't want to be too critical about it, because I think that's like everybody's first reaction. You know? So
because they want to do like more, don't they?
So what I wanted to see is trying to appreciate what exactly were they trying to depict. You know, what the movie...
It just seemed like a love story to me. And like, The first one, uh, the first trilogy, you know, despite all the uh, huge philosophical ideologies that were being, you know, explained to you and all these different symbolisms, I believe that it was still a love story. You know, what was so important to him was saving Trinity, but at the same, because he had seen her die, like in his visions, but at the same time, like he couldn't neglect his destiny of being the one, and had to keep trying to do his job while keeping everything from collapsing. He actually had a chance to end the Matrix in the second one when he finally met the architect, who explained that the Matrix always starts off with a handful of people who then go on to create Zion, and the one, whoever is designated as the one, would always have to restart the cycle. But he chose against that because he felt that Trinity was in danger. So he burst out of there. I remember the scene where he was flying out of that room, and there was so much force and so much power that like machines and stuff were bursting into flames, doors were exploding, because he knew that she was falling from like an incredible distance away. So he had to catch her. He was flying through the city, and the force was like blowing cars, you know, up into the air, and he caught her. And he used the one Matrix powers to phase through her body to pull the bullet out of her. So I still feel like it was a love story. So for it to continue being a love story, guys. But anyway, to each his own, and we shall see where it goes. On another note, there was Spider-Man No Way Home. Multiverse story, done for the first time on the big screen by one of these superhero giants. I believe the Flash was supposed to do that, but because of studio arguments within Warner Brothers and DC and Zack Snyder, projects were delayed. They didn't get the first Justice League right, so they had to release a second Justice League, which delayed the Flash, and now the Flash is coming out in 2022. Yeah, which meant Marvel beat them to the punch and released this masterpiece of a movie, bringing back the likes of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, that sort of thing, which was a huge box office success, obviously, because like nothing they do fails. Yeah.
A movie I'm curious to watch is Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up.
I really want to watch that movie, you know. Apparently, it's now third on Netflix's all-time watch list. So, what about it?
It's a very unconventional story. And it's star-studded as well. So you get Leonardo DiCaprio with Jennifer Lawrence. I believe they're like scientists, right? They somehow detect a meteor coming to Earth to destroy the planet, and they go on this tour throughout the country, having to explain it to the world, so that they can like do something about it. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's how I'm remembering the synopsis. But because they are, they're awkward characters in themselves, it's kind of hard for them to convey that message socially. Scientists being nerds and all of that. But yeah, looks like it's an exciting movie. I also look forward to checking that out. I believe it's still in cinema, so those of you who can rush and get a ticket, go for it. We shall also check it out. Not exactly like that, but we shall check it out as well. Anyway, we could talk about the vaccine stuff, but let's save that for another podcast. Let's end this with Adele finally coming back and dropping her album 30.
Yes. So here's a little interesting story. So Adele had a show, one night only. So the thing is, her son, whose name is Angelo, he should be like 5 years old or something like that. He doesn't know that she's Adele. Yes. He knows that she's a singer, but he doesn't know like she's a mega star.
Like,
yeah.
Complete superstar.
So sometimes she's had him come over like backstage during rehearsal, but then like the venue is empty and things like that. And so she took him this one time to see a Taylor Swift concert, and the place was packed. And he was like, there's so many people here, she's so popular. And she found that amusing, you know, that's cute and adorable.
That ain't nothing, but yeah.
Yeah. So at the show, Adele one night only, that was the first time her son saw her perform in front of so many people.
He must have been blown away.
Yeah.
Like, this is who my mama is. That's great. Did you listen to the album?
I have listened to some songs. Yes.
I
I'm yet to give it a thorough listen and give a candid review.
I know the debut single "Easy on Me" that just took the whole world by storm. You know, it's like even though they anticipated her return on the scene, they're still blown away by how creative she can be.
Yeah. You can't fathom just how differently she can recreate herself and give a new sort of sound. Yeah, just freaking phenomenal.
Speaking of phenomenal, guys, you have been phenomenal for sticking through the end of our 2021 recap. And we look forward to a whole new year where we can provide you with great content. I have been your co-host, Sunday Pars. Wait, Sunday, or you can call me Mr. Pars, or whichever order.
And I have been Mulundu, the Kingpin. So we'll catch you on the next episode.
Happy New Year.
Chilanga, buses.